All right, and we are still sitting here at the start for our women's varsity double grand final. This is scheduled for 8:50, so running just a few minutes ahead of schedule here. We're going to have Trent there in lane 1 from right to left on your screen, MIT in lane 2, Queens in lane 3, Trent is in lane 4, Gordon is in lane 5, and MIT in lane 6, the women's varsity double. Looks like all boats are sitting ready. The flag is up. And it's down. All boats are off. And we're underway here in the women's varsity double. And a really quick start again out of lane 3 from Queens here. Flying at the start of this one. Queens University had the fastest time in qualifying yesterday at 7:14. The next fastest was Trent, who sits in lane 4. They were about 12 seconds behind. And then in the semifinal, Queens rode at 7:54, just 20 seconds out in front of the boat from Gordon. And in the second semifinal, the boat from Trent won by a margin of about 10 seconds over MIT. So look for this one to start to break out into a couple different races here, as Gordon and Trent and the lane 2 MIT boat compete for silver, and the lane 1 Trent and the lane 6 MIT boat will likely compete for 5th and 6th here. And through the first 300 meters, that does appear to be how things are breaking out. We've got the Queens University boat pulling out into a solid lead early on. The lane 4 Trent boat sits in second at the moment, just out in front of MIT in lane 2. Gordon in 4th, and then a dead heat almost for 5th and 6th between Trent and MIT in the outside lanes.
Yeah, that's right. And I have Queens here in lane 3 rowing at about a 37, and no surprise that they are out in front here. This crew has a lot of experience. Both of these athletes are actually lightweights here. They're the winners of the 2025 Canadian University championships. They both won U23 lightweight singles at Canadian Henley, and Julia, who is one of the crew there, has raced at U19 Worlds in Paris and U23 Worlds in St. Catharines. So lots of experience here in this Queens crew, and it is really showing here. So again, the two lightweights taking the lead here from Canada, starting to open up water now on Trent and MIT, who is now in 3rd, being challenged by Trent on the outside again. So we'll try to keep those straight. We have a couple different crews here from MIT, a couple from Trent, and we are starting to separate here a little bit. So again, still Queens in lane 3 is your current leader, the U19, U23 experienced lightweight crew here coming out of Queens University. And opening up just a little bit of water now over Trent in lane 4. So we have about a boat length though. Trent not giving up yet. They're not going to roll over and take that. So I have a feeling Trent is really going to start to make a move in the second half. We've seen that before, and I have a feeling we'll see it again. So Queens, Trent, and then MIT in lane 2 are your 1, 2, 3.
Shot here of our lead boat from Queens as they make their way through the second half of the second 500, past the Camden County Boathouse here. And we see from our follow launch, you can see the Queens University boat there out in front in the distance. Trent there in lane 4, not too far behind. Closest here to the launch camera is our lane 6 MIT boat. That's just Gordon College over their shoulder in the dark and light blue. And you can see the other MIT boat there in lane 2 across the way. But a nice look inside the lane 6 MIT boat here at the moment.
Yeah, MIT is making their sort of debut once again at the Vail Regatta. The open weights have not been here since 2019, so it's great to see them out here. Again, 2 boats in this event, and doing a pretty good job of it here. So we're still looking at Queens and Trent as our current leader, and then we have MIT in lane 2 in 3rd. And then a little bit of a race happening between Gordon, the Fighting Scots, and MIT in lanes 5 and 6. We'll keep an eye on that as they start to shape up. But right now, this is all about Queens and Trent in lanes 3 and 4. We'll keep an eye on that again for the second half. I'm expecting a little bit of a move here from Trent as we come into the last portion of this race. But right now, Queens just with an unbelievable row from start to finish. Again, so much experience in this crew. Again, lightweights, they've been rowing together for quite a bit of time and also have some wins on their own in lightweight singles at the Canadian Henley, which is a prestigious and fantastic event in beautiful St. Catharines. And right now we're looking at Trent starting to close that gap just a little bit on Queens as they start to move up. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, maybe brought the rate up as I spoke there, perhaps brought the rate up a pip or two. We're going to get some numbers for you there as we keep an eye on that. And then look over at Gordon in lane 5, starting to make a little bit of a move on MIT in lane 2.
Yeah, nice little move there from Queens. Looks like Trent had closed the gap down just a little bit into this third 500, and the response from the Queens University boat to keep them just off of their stern deck here. But a close race here. Trent just pointed ever so slightly across their lane, could cost them a couple ticks here. 500 meters left now for our lead boat. It does look like Trent has closed it down a good bit here over the last 10 to 15 strokes. Again, within a double, the margin of a length or a half length is really, not a ton over the course of 500 meters. It is still definitely, as we saw in that Oklahoma City and Brock race just a few moments ago, it is not insurmountable whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's so cool about the doubles too is across the junior and the collegiate level, we have seen so much more competition over the last few years because it's so popular in Europe and other countries that now in the US we're starting to feature these events more as we've broken things down into age groups and different categories. We're seeing a lot more sculling emphasis in the US now, and it's really started to become more competitive. So these events are very, very hotly contested, and that is what we're seeing here, absolutely. The Canadian crew here, Queens, still doing a great job, but Trent really starting to move up on them as we come into the last few strokes here.
Yeah, Trent also an Ontario school, so two Ontario programs here competing for this women's varsity double championship at the Vail Regatta.
Yeah, that's right. Look at them starting to go head to head. You can see Queens starting to bring the rate up now. I have a feeling they are not going to want to give up right here at the finish line. So it is Queens that is starting to bring the rate up. Trent responding. And this is going to be a pretty tight race. I don't know that Trent has the real estate to actually catch them. Right now it is Queens' race to lose. And they are now looking back at Trent, starting to bring the rate up a little bit more. I think they know this race is theirs.
And coming into the finish line, taking home the gold in the women's varsity double and starting to open it up even more with these final few strokes. It will be the boat from Queens. Trent takes the silver. Fist bump. Cool, calm, collected out of Queens. Race for the bronze is on. We're expecting MIT to populate the screen next. There they are. And they take home the bronze just out in front of a surging Gordon school. Race for 5th and 6th between the MIT and Trent boat finishing up. And MIT just out in front of the other boat from Trent. So MIT takes 3rd and 5th, Trent 2nd and 6th.